I want to welcome you today. I want to thank you for joining me again, and I'm always happy to come before you with a word from the Lord. The word I want to release today is so important for today because we're seeing this thing up close and personal, where there is so much anger. There's war, global war, because there's global issues. People's hearts are so far from God that they have no idea why they are at war. And so I want to talk about our heart today, our heart. How do we see things? Are we in a place that we're always judging other people? Or do we always think that people think the worst of us? So many times we think, oh, well, they're just thinking this about me. How do you know that that's what they're thinking? Why don't we give people the benefit of the doubt in this world? So I'm going to come out of Luke 6 and verse 43. For a good tree does not bear bad fruit, nor does a bad tree bear good fruit. So you know that yourself. If you go to a tree and a tree is healthy, you expect that healthy tree to produce good, healthy fruit. You don't expect that tree to just start producing. You see the leaves and then the fruit come on and the fruit comes on rotten. It doesn't work that way. A healthy tree produces healthy fruit. And so it says, for every tree is known by its own fruit. For men do not gather figs from thorns, nor do they gather grapes from a bramble bush. Now, I grew a tree, had a tree planted once. And I told the man, I said, I wanted a pear tree. That tree never bared any pears. And the reason why it wasn't a fruit tree. But the man told me it was, and I think in his mind he thought it was, but it was not a fruit tree. So it did not bear anything. And so I was not able to glean anything from it. But when I go to places, the person said, I have a banana tree. As we see in several of the warmer tropical areas, those I can look at the leaves and see that's a banana tree, and it's producing bananas. Or in Kenya, when I saw a tree that produced coffee beans, well, I knew those are coffee beans. It's not a coffee tree. It's not going to produce grapes. It's going to produce coffee beans. And so each tree would bear, a good tree would bear good fruit. A bad tree will bear bad fruit. And so you can look at what type of tree, how healthy is the tree? How healthy are the thoughts that we have in our mind? What's in our heart? What's coming forth out of us when we talk to other people? What happens when we see people that we hadn't seen in a while? Do you automatically think of the bad things or whatever you heard about them the last time you saw them? Or are you just happy to see them and you're judging them now or receiving them now for who they are? This is what I am saying. A good tree produces good fruit. A bad tree produces bad fruit. It says in 45, a good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth good fruit. It says out of the good treasure of his heart. In other words, whatever is in your heart is what your treasure is. So if in your heart, if you think of positive, wonderful things about other people, or maybe not about anybody, you just wake up in the morning and the first thought in your mind is how good it is that you can open up your eyes again and God has blessed you to open up your eyes. That's good fruit. That's good fruit. Your first conversation of the day is to God. And so when you wake up at the beginning hours of the day, and their first thought is thanking God that you are here. And then you begin to think of the things that you have done or things that you want to do that's been positive. And then you begin to, while you're in this mood of praying, pray for those that you know. Pray for their families. Pray for them. Pray for their job. Pray for their ministry. Pray for them at school. Whatever it is you're going to pray, that you can think of what is it about that person that you can think positive about and be a blessing to their lives, even if they don't know it. If your heart is full of light, come on now. If your heart is full of light, then what comes out of your mouth, what is produced from your lips, will also be light. It will be encouragement. It will be love. And so when it says here, a good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth good, That means you're not backbiting, you're not slandering, you're not trying to hurt anybody, you don't have evil thoughts. You know, it is amazing to me, and I want to stop right here for a second. There's some people I haven't seen in a long time. When I see them, they, hey, how you doing, Cynthia? And you know, we pick up a conversation of how we've been, what's going on with us, whatever's going on in our lives. We're happy to see each other, and we operate from that place of, I see you. I enjoy you. I'm glad I see you today. I have no negative thoughts because all my thoughts are, it's good toward you. My heart, the treasure of my heart is good. What's in my heart is positive. But what may be coming out of the heart of another may be something very different. So let me show you about this other one. And an evil man brings out of the evil treasure of his heart, brings forth evil. So those who store up evil. So we're talking about what you store up. What's in your heart is what you store up. So if you're storing up good, what's going to come out of your mouth? Good. If you're storing up good, and there's going to be blessings, there's going to be kindness, there's going to be encouragement, it's going to be light, it's going to be glory. But an evil man stirs up slander and offenses and accusations and assumptions. And this is not where God wants us to be. What are you storing up in your heart? Because whatever is in the heart, the issues of the heart, that's what we have to look at. Because out of the issues of the heart, the mouth speaks. So whatever is in your heart is what you are going to produce. And it says this, for out of the abundance of the heart. I mean, everything is in there. Everything's in your heart. That's the abundance of your heart. His mouth speaks. I can't think of anything good to say about a person. That might be somebody's position. I know them, and I know they've done this and they've done that. But you know, why is that in your heart? Why is it there in your heart? Now, I feel like this, and some of us know some narcissists, and we know that narcissist is not going to ever say anything or do anything good. Erase them from your memory. Don't waste energy on people who are narcissists. They can't do any difference. They can't do any better. But when we begin to look at the issues of the heart, you know, when I see someone, and I used to do this when I was a young woman. Let me explain. When I was a young woman, if I called someone's number and they didn't answer, then I called again and they didn't answer. The first thing I thought about is they're trying to avoid me. Now, I never thought, well, maybe they're in the shower. Maybe they're in prayer. Maybe they have a conversation with someone else. Maybe they're on the phone talking to someone else. Maybe they don't have the cell phone with them. Now, we know today we can always reach somebody by cell phone for the most part, unless they're on another call or prayer or something like that. But it used to upset me because of my insecurities. I always attributed to they didn't want to speak to me. That was always my thing. It was never, well, maybe they're busy. My insecurities were brought over into me thinking this is the way the next person thought. And then when I would talk to them, they would say something to me like, well, you know, I was in prayer, or, you know, I left the room, I was in the bedroom and I went to the kitchen, I didn't take the phone with me or whatever. Think of things that are good. Don't bring your insecurities into the problems with someone else. If you are I pray you're not, but if you are a narcissist and you know how you use other people, you know what's going to be in your heart? You know how you use people. So you think they're going to use you the same way. So whatever it is that you think, you're going to put that thought on the next person when they may not be thinking nothing about what you're thinking about and may not even be wasting 2 brain cells on you. We have to look at our insecurities and not pull that over to someone else. Just because I can't reach a person doesn't mean that they're avoiding me. But there are people, of course, that if they can't reach you or whatever they feel, I tell people this: if I told you I love you, I mean what I say. I don't have to tell you every time I see you. But if I told you I love you, unless I tell you something different or show you something different, just believe what I said. I said I love you. Now, I could tell a person, I could write it, text it, and then you'll find that a person have an issue because you know what? It's their issue. They could think, oh, well, she's avoiding me. Oh, well, she's thinking this of me. No, she's not thinking anything of you. I got a large family. I got my God before me. I have work to do. I don't have time to be thinking negative about anybody. I don't have the time. So unless I tell you that we are not going to have a relationship any longer, consider it an issue of your thoughts, what's in your heart. They will stop speaking to you. They will tell it whether they don't like me as well. You know, I've heard people do that, and even done it about other people. Said, well, you know, I don't think so and so like me, and I'll say, why is that? Well, because they didn't answer their phone. They didn't call me. Well, maybe they're busy. You know, always give people the benefit of the doubt. You cannot go wrong. But if your heart is pure, your eyes will be pure too. If your heart is pure, your thoughts will be pure. And you won't think anything negative about someone else because it's what's in the heart. What do we store up in our hearts? That's why I don't look at a lot of things on TV or social media that's negative, because I understand this. Whatever you just keep pulling into your eye gates is how you will eventually think. And if you're always looking at certain programs that talk about raggedy husbands, you know, unfaithful wives, criminal children, and that's what you look at all the time, that's gonna become part of your paradigm. You are going to think, because you're storing this up in your heart. Yeah, my kids probably ain't no good either, because you know they're doing this. You know, get over that. Judge people according to the person. Actually, you don't judge them at all, but you deal with people according to who they are. But what's in your heart? You know, little line in Shakespeare, to thine own self be true. There's so much truth in that. Be true to yourself. Ask yourself, why do you always think people are against you? What are you storing up in your heart that you always got to think, well, they're against me? You know, most of the time, people have no time to think about you. If they have a busy life, they are not thinking about you and all of your issues. But what have you stored up in your heart? I know people that wake up in the morning angry. I'll say it again. I know people that wake up in the morning angry. Angry because of what was said 2 days ago that the person who said it may not even remember if they said it at all. Because a lot of times people store up and they have these memories that hasn't happened, and they think, well, this person said this, that, or the other to me, and it may not be quite the way they're thinking, or they heard it, but what you heard is not what really is going on, what you thought you heard. Give people the benefit of the doubt. You know, that's what David said. God, give me a clean heart. Give me a clean heart. Let my heart think on things that are pure. Let my heart think on things that are righteous. Let me think good thoughts toward others. Instead of saying, well, I'm suspicious of them. They look like they might be kind of funny. No. Now, we do have discernment. And there are times that we have to discern the situation, discern the person, discern what we are, when we're dealing with certain people, especially those we don't know. We have to put up that, operate in the spirit of discernment. Is this person for real? Is this person honest? What type of person is this? You can't meet a person today and then tomorrow they're your best friends. Give it some time. Give it some time to grow on you so you can see who that person is. And then ask Holy Spirit, do I need to deal with this person? But so many times we find ourselves in positions where we judge people wrong. I know they feel this way about me. What, did they tell you that they did? Or I don't want to talk to her anymore because I called her on the phone and she didn't call me back. Maybe she forgot you called. And some people say, well, she got a phone and she can look on the phone and see a call. Everybody's not looking at that. But she might saw you call, but she might have forgot to call you back. So just get a benefit of the doubt. You want to talk to them? Call them up. They don't want to talk to you, guess what they want to do? They'll never answer the phone. Never. It's not like I'm not going to answer today. I'm not going to ever answer the phone because I don't want you talking to me. We need to get past ourselves. What are we stored up in our hearts? If we're storing up the things of God, you know what we're going to do? We're going to give out the things of God. I want my heart to be pure before God. Out of the issues or the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. What's in my mind? I don't want to assume things about people. I don't want to sit back and figure out, well, I think this person is this way, or they say they like me. They say we're friends, but no, forget the but. You know what I loved about Jesus? The people who everybody else abandoned or did not want to have anything to do with, those are the ones he was drawn to. He saw something in them because Jesus had a pure heart. He operated out of total purity. He didn't have to assume anything. He was a prophet. He was a master prophet. He didn't have to assume anything. He was an apostle. He was a master apostle. He was an evangelist. He evangelized the world. Jesus was all that and more. And he didn't have to assume anything. What we see in Jesus' heart was love. Love. When he saw the broken, he went to them to heal, to speak life to them. That's what he did at the woman at the well. He revealed to her who he was. I always love that story because I love how he revealed to her, you drink from me, you'll never be thirsty again. He didn't reveal that to anybody else. He revealed it to her. And the same woman who the whole town abandoned, she ran back to the town and said, come meet a man who told me everything I ever did. And they believed her and ran back to see Jesus. Jesus saw the man laying at the pool for 39 years. And every time the angel would come once a year and would stir the water up, the first one in the water was healed. He was a total invalid. He could not get into the water. And Jesus, we don't know how many times Jesus probably walked past the man because he was there all the time, 39 years. But this day, this man was going to have an encounter with God. So God walks up, Jesus walks up, and he sees the man. Man tells him, I've been laying by here, but I have nobody to put me in the water. And you know what? Jesus could have said, okay, next time the angel get ready to stir the water, I'll make sure I'm going to have my angels here to put you in the water. But no, Jesus showed him a better way. He said, I'm your healer. Jesus healed him. Jesus touched this man and saw this man where he was. And Jesus' heart was so pure and so beautiful and so honest. He wanted this man to have an encounter that he would never forget. The woman who had the issue of blood, everybody was touching Jesus. But that time was saved for her because of her faith. If I can just touch the hem of his garment. He's virtue. Who touched me? I felt virtue going out from me. That's a moment that woman would never forget. That she was able to touch Jesus' garment. She didn't touch his body. She touched his garment. And she was made whole. You think of the man who was blind. Jesus spit into the dirt and made mud and rubbed it in his eyes. Anybody was told, I don't know nobody doing that with me. But Jesus gave everybody their own personal experience. Everybody. The 10 lepers walking down the road. He healed them all. They were healed as they went. But only one came back with deep gratitude. Because what was in his heart? It was gratitude. It was deep gratitude. Jesus healed us of this unclean and horrible affliction. And I'm so grateful. That's how he was. Jesus said, wasn't there 10 of you? But one was appreciative. One was appreciative. How many times have Jesus touched your life? Brought you out of a hard place? When I was young, they would say, well, the Lord brought me out of a rocky place and place my feet on solid ground. Yeah, he did. You know, God brings us out of these hard situations. Sometimes we have trials and we wonder, how are we going to get out of this trial? God says, I'm going to bring you out. But you know what? It's an issue of the heart thing. Let me tell you what I mean by that. I can believe that God is healer. Even if I don't know him well, I can believe he's healer. My faith can make me whole through prayer or whatever. But you know what? Healing comes so easy. Deliverance comes so easy. When we begin to tell God, give me a clean heart. God, I don't want to think negative thoughts of others. I don't want to think evil thoughts of other people. I don't want to wake up in the morning depressed. You know, people wake up depressed. God, don't let me wake up depressed. Let me wake up with joy. And that joy comes from sometimes just remembering who brought you through the night. Who brought you through the night? God did. You know, there was a song that came out once that said, everything that happened to me that was good, God did it. You know, we can remember that. It's just so simple as it is. A clean heart, a pure heart, a good heart. Out of the issues of the heart, the mouth speaks. A clean heart, what we store up in our hearts, the treasure. God calls us treasure. You can have evil treasure and you can have good treasure. We want good treasure stored up in our heart. So that when we see other people, we can speak goodness to them. You know, David said, goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. That's what I want. I want when I leave a room of people, that I leave behind me goodness and mercy. That they have seen the goodness of God and the mercy of God through my life, through my words. That I would leave a positive impact on people. Out of the treasures of our heart, our mouth would speak. Quit speaking death to people. Quit speaking loss to people. Quit speaking brokenness to people. Quit speaking negative things to people. Begin to speak life. Begin to speak love. It does not matter what you think. You know, even a spiritual assumption. Some people say, well, I'm a prophet. And the only thing those prophets ever do is tell you something bad. Prophecy is to encourage a person. Now, we know David had Nathan, the prophet Nathan, come to him and tell him what he did that was wrong. But he didn't really say you did it. He gave him a story. And David gave him the answer that the man should be punished. And so then he said, well, you're the man. There are times God will use you to come like that. And there's other times that God will use you to speak a word of life. And that would change people too. But it can't be spiritual. It can't be assumptions. Spiritual negative is, you know, I'm negative all the time. I'm going to tell you what you're doing is wrong. You know, you're going to West Hell because you did this or you did that. Well, you know what? People always know what they did. You don't even have to tell them. They already know. But you can kind of reverse it. Let me tell you about how you can do things. Instead of always telling people what they did wrong, sometimes you can tell people this way. God wants to bring you into a place of love. He wants to bring you to a place where you will lift other people up. He wants to bring you to a place where you will share your goodness with other people. He will share your blessings with others. Now, you could say that another way. God wants you to stop being selfish. Now, you can say it like that too. But you can also say it in a positive way. God wants you to be a blessing to others, for you are blessed to be a blessing. You know what? That's saying the same thing. You're not giving to people now, but you need to start doing that. We need to learn wisdom when we are speaking to people and operate out of the spirit of knowledge. That gift of knowledge and a gift of wisdom and a gift of understanding and a gift of counsel. That when we talk to people, not pacify them, but talk to them in a way that they want a life change. You know, when I was a younger woman, and I think I said this one time before, I was a younger woman, this woman called me and she says, hey, minister, go minister to those people. I had no idea who I was at the time. Then she said, you better learn who you are. I went home and thought about that for days. Who I am, what does that mean? Now, later God called me. But you know what? She could have said, You just ignorant. You don't know who you are. She was a prophetess. I didn't know. She just confirmed the call that God had given me that I didn't know I had. You know, our mouth will speak whatever our heart is full of. If my heart is full of light, Light, if my heart is full of glory, I'm going to speak light. I'm going to speak life. And I'm going to speak glory to the lives of other people. Jesus lifted up the downtrodden. The only ones he came hard at, he came for them. That's Pharisees. Because, Jesus he just couldn't deal with the hypocrites. He came at them. He told them who they were. But most people are not Pharisees. Most people just don't know the way to Jesus. They don't know. Jesus says he is the way, he is the truth, and he is the life. And we are to point everybody into that direction of where Jesus is. And how do we do that? We do that with love. Some people never see the good in others. You know why? Because they never see the good in themselves. They won't tell you that. They won't say, I really feel like I'm a nothing. Or I really feel like I'm not the smartest. I really feel like, I can't do anything right. I really feel intimidated. And they're not going to say that's how they feel. So they'll get to someone else and they'll say, oh, they got a problem with intimidation. No, you got a problem with intimidation. Oh, they got a problem with dealing with people. No, you got a problem dealing with people. Speak life to people. Store of righteous thoughts in your heart and then give them out. Give it out. Just give freely give. Be a blessing to people. Bless them everywhere you go. Learn how to be a blesser. Learn how to be a blesser. We're blessed ourselves to be a blessing. Yeah, you can tell people what time it is. But should you tell them like that? Or should you build their faith up and give them words of life? That's what Jesus did. He gave them words of life. And then they, at the end, what happened? They ended up walking in it. I pray this message bless you. I pray that you look at people very different than you do now. And I pray that you come to the understanding that you were created and called, anointed and appointed to bring life to those who don't know. An evil tree stores up. An evil man stores up evil, but a good man stores up good. I pray this bless you. Amen.